The story of the warlords starts right at the root of a shattered empire. The massive Qing dynasty collapsed entirely in 1912. The new Republic of China replaced absolute emperors with a single president. Yuan Shikai grabbed the very first presidential seat. He remained totally obsessed with the ancient ways of the past. He threw away the presidency to declare himself a brand new emperor. He got completely carried away and claimed the ultimate throne. The entire country exploded in absolute outrage over this greedy move. The public violently rejected this massive step backward in time. The short-haired dictator could not even keep a crown on his head. His ridiculous ambition turned him into a national joke. Even his most loyal generals turned their backs on him. The intense stress and fury killed him just days into his fake reign. His sudden death erased the only force holding the broken nation together. Greedy generals with armies violently carved up the country into personal kingdoms. The republic plunged instantly into the brutally chaotic warlord era. Summonon still had to play the role of president on paper. A man named Li Yuanhong stepped up to take the doomed job. President Li suffered from the fatal flaw of having zero troops. This weakness turned him into a pathetic and powerless puppet. Premier Duan Shiwei completely despised this weak setup. Duan commanded a massive army and controlled highly valuable territory. His powerful military crew became known as the Anhui clique. The powerless president and the heavily armed premier constantly locked horns. Both proud men stubbornly refused to back down. History remembers this fierce clash as the presidential premier power struggle. A bizarre minor warlord named Zhang Xun stepped into the middle of the chaos. His soldiers kept their long braided hair while the rest of the world moved on. The public branded his strange forces the Pigtail Army. He marched into Beijing and violently kicked both leaders to the curb. He shocked the world by placing the last emperor back on the throne. This wild plot became known as the Manchu Restoration. The nation aggressively refused to let history be thrown in reverse. Premier Duan seized his chance and completely crushed the Pigtail Army in days. The entire imperial circus collapsed into dust after just 12 days. Feng Guozhang stepped over the ruins to become the new president. This new president refused to be a weak pushover. He commanded his own massive forces from the Zhili province. His loyal followers formed the deadly Zhili clique. The two heavily armed leaders immediately sparked a brand new war. The Zhili forces recruited a massive heavy hitter to destroy the Anhui clique. They brought in Zhang Zuolin as the absolute boss of the northeast. His terrifying northern army became known as the Fengshan clique. The big three warlord cliques officially took their places on the bloody chessboard. The ultimate battle of the titans kicked off next. The Zhili and Fengshan armies ganged up to slaughter the Anhui clique in round 1. The Anhui forces got wrecked and completely wiped off the map forever. The winning allies instantly turned their guns on each other over the war prize. This betrayal sparked the brutal First Zhili-Fengshan War. The Zhili forces won and sent the northern army packing back home. Zhang Zuolin absolutely refused to swallow his bitter pride. He spent 2 years rebuilding his army to launch a massive revenge attack. The northern army won big this time and kicked their rivals straight out of Beijing. The king of the northeast officially became the top dog of the entire nation. The defeated Zhili clique refused to disappear completely. 2 of their top generals dragged their surviving troops down south. They carved out massive new warlord territories across the southern provinces. The bloody warlord landscape broke down into 3 distinct tiers of power. The top tier belonged to Zhang Zuolin ruling the central government in Beijing. The second tier featured the southern generals holding down the mighty Yangtze River. The third tier consisted of stubborn local power players refusing to die. Fierce local bosses completely locked down their own remote provinces. These brutal men etched their names permanently into the history books. A single massive exception stood strong against all this chaos in Guangdong. This province served as the pure revolutionary base of Sunday Yat-sen. He spent his entire life fighting to destroy the warlords and unite the broken country. He made the bold decision to unite with the Communist Party for ultimate victory. This powerful alliance officially kicked off the First United Front. A tragic illness stole his life before the real revolution could even begin. His fiercely driven successor took total control of the movement. He led a massive joint army north to permanently wipe out the warlords. This violent military crusade became known as the Northern Expedition. The expeditionary forces absolutely bulldozed their way across the map. They crushed the southern generals first before pushing all the way to Beijing. Zhang Zuolin saw his doom approaching and fled on a train toward the northeast. A massive explosion ripped through his train the second it reached the station. Hidden Japanese explosives blew the train apart and killed him instantly. His furious son Zhang Shuiliang immediately took total control of the northeast. He possessed a burning hatred for his father's killers and refused to fight any more civil wars. He shocked the world by pledging his entire territory to the new Nanjing government. He tore down the old warlord banners and raised the new nationalist flag. This bold move officially marked the final end of the Northern Expedition. Every surviving warlord across the country surrendered to the new government on paper. This sudden national unity stood as a total illusion. Local bosses still gripped their huge armies and ran their own private empires. True peace and real unity remained completely out of reach. The absolute unification of the bleeding nation would demand another massive revolution.